Now from WATN, it's Local 24 This Week with Richard Ransom.
Welcome to Local 24 This Week, coming to you now twice on Sundays at 9 a.m. and 10:35 p.m. And each time we bring you the real story behind the big stories. Let's get right to today's topics. The future of Memphis in May, another successful festival in the books. But big questions remain about the future of the festival this week. We learned the pause button was pushed on mediation as well as on the Tom Lee Park redesign. What's going on? The Memphis election making news as well. Dozens of names have filed for petitions to run in the city's next municipal election to be held in October. I'm going to ask my panel what they think about how the races are shaping up so far, particularly the mayor's race. And school funding in the crosshairs. Shelby County Schools wants more money for education, but it may have a tough fight convincing the Shelby County Commission of that. We'll get to all those topics in a minute, but first, I want to introduce to you Scott Brockman, Chairman and CEO and President, I should say, of the Memphis-Shelby County Airport Authority. Glad to have you here. Thanks for coming in.
Richard, thanks for having me.
We're excited to talk about all the developments with the airport. You've got some things to be excited about. Traffic is up big time from those days when we lost the Delta hub and we never thought anything was going to happen.
Well, they are, and it really is exciting to see the numbers that are coming about. We're setting records at the checkpoint. And the Mid-South is responding to the flights and the additional seats that we add, so that's it's a great problem to have.
Let's show you the folks at home some renderings, if they haven't seen them yet, of what this is all going to look like when it's done, the renovation that's now underway. A brand new, this is obviously the old terminal, but there you see the new concourse and what that's going to look like. Tell folks what some of the improvements that they can expect.
Well, when we decided to go ahead with the modernization, we wanted to have high ceilings. We wanted to widen the corridor. The jets today are much bigger than they were back when the former concourse was built. So we want to have a lot of natural light. So we're putting in high window walls. The interesting thing is those windows will all have sophisticated new technology glass, which will tint, if you will, during the high sun of the day, so we never have to put shades on them, so the view will always be clear and clean. A lot of amenities will have additional seating, more outlets. Everyone carries gadgets, so we will have a lot of plugs, a lot of comfortable seating. We're not just the hard hold room seating. There'll be some comfort spaces at the same time.
So what people know is the A and C concourses are going to be mothballed, is the phrase.
Yes.
And all the airlines will be in the same concourse now.
They will, yes. Come early spring, late winter, early spring of 2021, we'll open. And everyone will move at the same time to a totally new all refurbished, brand new jet bridges for passengers, all new amenities. They'll all move at once, so it'll be pretty turnkey.
I guess a nice problem to have, but already this week we learned some concerns you may outgrow the space that's being built.
Well, the challenge that we have is that, yes, we're doing so well that there are times when we have more planes on the ground than we have gates under the new design. And so we're going to have to get creative with the airlines until we can chart a path to actually modernize more facilities. We came to an agreement with the airlines to do the 23 gates we're doing, and we'll have to find a pathway until we can get an agreement to do more gates.
What do you envision 5 years down the road, how that growth would be accommodated? Would you extend the one concourse, or would A and C be brought back in some form?
No, we're only doing 2/3 of the B. We're doing the center spine from the checkpoint, and we're doing what would be the east leg of the Y. The west leg right now is closed and will remain closed except for international flights. That will be the next concourse that we will modernize. And we're going to start the dialogue with them now, because it's easy to see that if we continue the path we are, we're going to need more gates. So we'll start talking to them about now, and we might even be able to look at starting that process of modernizing those gates before we open the existing ones. But the future looks well, and I think it's going to be a beautiful facility when it's totally done. and we'll keep the same design and go forward with the west leg.
Let me take you back to the dark time when Delta announced it was pulling its hub, and people wondered if we'd ever get back to the days where we had some nonstop flights to most of the major cities. Now, it's not like where it was with Delta by any means, but you are offering service nonstop to most every major city. What are the big targets out there that we still don't have nonstop service to that you would like to see happen?
Well, we still have some gaps in our nonstop markets, and so we need to add Boston and the upper Northeast. We would like to get some more West Coast nonstops. Seattle, San Francisco, additional to LA. We've got a lot more demand than we've got service, so they're now all connecting somewhere. We'd like to get that, and we're working with the airlines. I've been in this airport management field for 35 years, and the competition has gotten harder and harder to get those planes in the last 10 years than it's ever been. And airlines just are much more focused, much more driven to profitability than they are to growth.
And it has to be to your advantage that the airlines that are here and offering routes have expanded in the size of planes they're bringing into Memphis. It's not just the regional airplanes anymore. You're seeing 737s and larger jets.
Well, I'll give you one quick set of data that at the time of the hub, our average seats per airplane was 58. Today, our average seats per airplane is almost 110. So you almost double the size of the seats on the airplanes, and that's going to continue as we go forward. And so the challenge, which is why we wanted to modernize the concourse, it was too small before to handle the large jets and all of the people. So as we go forward, we will continue to look at that trend and to make sure we accommodate that as we go forward.
Did the public outcry that happened back when Delta was struggling in terms of public perception that Delta does Memphis on Twitter and social media, did that have an impact? Did the airport listen to the public's concerns then?
Well, I think we always listen to the public concerns. The challenge is it had, I think, a positive impact in that it changed a lot of how we do things. We spend much more time intentionally communicating with the public, with keeping them informed, because we didn't always do that very well back then, and we admit that. Part of the challenge, though, was the airlines paid very close attention to all that, and it really has. We've had to rebuild relationships with a lot of the carriers who were afraid of coming into the market because of some of that negativity. And so we've had to develop a lot of that along the way, but I think we've done a great job of doing it. And the proof is the added seats and the added flights that they brought to the market. And I think that'll continue. It'll just be at a slower pace, much more strategic. But I think we've still got wins on the air service market to come.
Little airport trivia. When the airport was initially designed, you'll know the name of the architect probably, but those are martini glasses that we're supposed to be looking at as we approach the main terminal.
Well, that's what they were designed to look like. I don't know that that's what he called them, but that's what everyone else calls them. Roy Harover, I believe is his name. Quite a unique design. And that's one that as we go forward, in the next 5 and 10 years, the next phase, once we get the concourse done, will be to move into the main part of the terminal and modernize it. And part of the process we're doing now is also seismically upgrading all of our facilities. They were all built in the 60s, and they were not built to the standards we have today for seismic protection and seismic code. So we've still got to accomplish not only the main part of the terminal, ticketing, baggage claim, but also that 3-story garage in the front. Every other facility we have, once the concourse is done and we close A&C, everywhere the public interacts with will be built to seismic code except for those two. So we're going to work on those two next, but we're at about $520 million right now of projects underway. So we've got to get some things moving before we add another layer. But it's exciting, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
Well, good luck with all of it. It's exciting to see that happen. I'm looking forward to the day where I can't touch the ceiling of the of the terminal.
That is coming soon.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Scott.
Richard, my pleasure.
We'll have you on again.
Oh, I love it.
When we come back, we'll have my round table, Tawan Stout-Mitchell, and Jackson Baker will be here. We'll be right back.
Everyone who has ever lived has lived here. All of mankind's triumphs and failures. Every moment, every hometown, all here. We start our coverage on the ground and take it to the airwaves so you always know what's happening in your own world and beyond. We are free TV and radio. We are breaking news. We are always there. We are broadcasters.
It's hot and you need a pool. Super summer sale at Family Leisure.
Pools as low as $12.99. 24-foot pools only $19.99 installed. Only the best brands in patio furniture, wicker, cast, sling, poly, and more. We've got it all, and it's all on sale. Immediate delivery and setup available. Hundreds of spas to choose from. Higher quality, professional installation, and guaranteed lowest prices. Ask about the $49.99 spa special. Play sets, grills, barbecue islands, and more.
Super summer sale going on now at Family Leisure.
Your mom said, comb your hair. Your dad told you, smarten up. Your dog is judging you right now. And your best friend just called you crazy. We all need someone who'll pull no punches and give it to us straight. Now, imagine getting your news like that. No bull, no spin, just give it to me straight. Straightforward news, straight to the heart of the story. ABC News, straightforward.
Penny Hardaway.
Feels good, man, because, you know, it rolls back to when we were in school. You know, you were playing football, I was playing basketball, and now to make it come full circle and be the coach, it's an amazing feeling.
Anthony Miller.
That's been given to me. I've always known, you know, with hard work, you're going to be rewarded. And I guess this is my reward.
James Wiseman.
All of these schools that's recruiting right now are great schools. They got great coaches. So all schools are even balanced right now, and I just got to weigh my options.
All went one-on-one with Local24's Doc Holliday.
No, hey, you're my guy.
You're watching Local 24 This Week with Richard Ransom.
All right, we're back on Local 24 This Week with my roundtable today, and I have Jackson Baker with the Memphis Flyer and Tawan Stout Mitchell, political consultant and former Memphis City Councilwoman. So I want to ask you both first about the Memphis and May dilemma, shall we call it? What on earth is going to happen with the future of this festival, which most Memphians would agree is hugely important, yet most Memphians would probably also agree that something needs to be done to improve the landscaping, the general look of Tomley Park. We know that mediation is on hold now. We know that there's also issues with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and they need to button up some things there. Do you think a good, amicable resolution can be reached, or I'm hearing lawsuits could be filed before too long? What do you hear,
Well, they do have a good mediator. Janice Holder is very talented, very broad-minded, and very good at discerning differences in points of view. The problem is you've got three bureaucracies, all of them powerful in their own way. In the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, that's probably the most powerful of all of them. And you've got to satisfy all three of these entities, and I think that is the problem, because one of the things that's going to happen when they shrink the acreage a little bit in the plan so far that's presented by the partnership, the River Partnership, is that it's going to be a lot more concrete, a lot less grass, and that doesn't augur well for the festival, I don't think.
Now, Memphis and May has suggested that perhaps the River Parks Partnership people maybe drop the ball a little bit on this Army Corps of Engineer approval that they need, and the Memphis or the River Parks Partnership people have countered back, nothing to see here. We know we've known all along what's going on. Could this become a real thorn in the side of the plans for the park, do you think, or is it just a formality?
Well, I don't know, but let me start by saying that I think that Memphis is in a great position anytime you get a commitment from the state for Tomley Park.
$10 million.
Right. Mm-hmm. And you have a commitment, well, that's not approved yet, from the county for Tomley Park. And so I think everybody wants the best for Tomley Park. However, I do find it ironic reading an article written by Bill Dries that it was a post in social media by a retired Army Corps engineer personnel that reminded them, hey, you can't go past go yet until you get your plan approved by the Army Corps of Engineers. And somehow somebody should have known that, and thank goodness that that came to light, because the Army Corps of Engineers invested a lot of money in the downtown riverfront, and you certainly can't ignore safety over aesthetics and entertainment.
So, Jackson, how does this end? What do you think?
Well, obviously, the Corps has got to rule on some kind of final solution. And you're going to make this camel work with 3 humps somehow, and we're going to ride it.
Well, it does seem like at the very least this is going to be delayed quite a bit.
It's going to be delayed.
Because they had hoped to get started almost immediately after Memphis in May. That's on hold now. And meantime, Memphis in May, they start planning for next year's festival right away. They start making commitments with the musicians and the honored country that comes in. So they're going to need some answers pretty quick, or I would say that everything has to stay put for another year. They need to look at another location
and stay tuned for 2021.
But they turned down all the locations that have been suggested.
Yeah. All right, we'll stay on that. We also want to talk about the Memphis election. We are learning a lot more about the names of folks who are interested in running. Lots of names, I think almost 70 so far for the different positions that are coming up. Some are very familiar to you at home and others maybe not so much. But let's talk about the Memphis mayor's race first. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 names now running for Memphis mayor. But the 3 big ones, the ones most likely to win, are the 3 you see on your screen right now. Obviously, the incumbent, Jim Strickland, former Mayor Willie Harrington, and County Commissioner Tammy Sawyer. Tawan will get out right away that you are a supporter of Tammy's, who also kind of made news this week when she issued some statements regarding education and basically said that Willie Harrington and Jim Strickland are pretending when it comes to education, and now she's planning to release what her plan is for education next week. Do you think this is a real big issue? Obviously she does when it comes to voters and what they're going to be voting on.
I know Memphis residents are always concerned about education, and it is true. There is a real correlation between crime and education. You can get as many police officers as you want, but until you do something about educating a young population and engaging them and getting them ready for the workforce or on business ownership, you're going to have high crime rates. And I don't know what her plan is, but I do know Memphians are always concerned about education.
Well, I know she has the backing of Reverend Ken Whalum, and I know Reverend Ken Whalum is definitely a supporter of having more city dollars. In fact, he would like Memphis to reclaim its old school district, but he would definitely like to see more city dollars going toward the Shelby County School District at the very least. Would you expect that's going to be a part of the platform?
Well, it could be, but really, I don't know how that works as far as the current constitutional layout of things, because the city withdrew from funding the schools, and there's no longer a Memphis City school system.
Well, you have all the suburban schools tax themselves more to pay for their municipal districts.
But that's not the case with the SCS.
Okay, as a former school board member, you don't have to have the school system in your jurisdiction in order to contribute to them because you think it is in the best interest of your citizens. So they can give to them, but whatever they give, they are going to be required to stay at that level.
Well, they've been there once already, and they pointedly wanted out, and they got out. And they got out for the simple reason that, like other governmental entities, they needed some more money. They couldn't afford all their obligations. I don't think they're going to ask for brand new obligations. And if Tammy wants to do that, she'll have a hard sell on her hand.
Well, they are funding pre-K. It looks like that has been established at least, so there's some more funding coming there. And we're going to talk more about funding in our next block, but I wanted to stay on the mayor's race a little bit longer. There's this People's Convention that's coming up. Reverend Earl Fisher is backing this, and this harkens back to a mayor's race. What year?
1991.
91, when Willie Harrington first ran for mayor and won. And Earl Fisher is promising it's a forum that will be for any and all candidates, but Jim Strickland has his doubts, so much so that he says he's going to opt out and not attend.
That's right.
Is that a smart political move for him, and does he have a point?
Well, that's not where his constituency is. Now, he does intend to lay claim to a fair share of the black vote, but this particular enterprise is for a dissident black vote that's not his. And he knows that. He doesn't need to get involved in any kind of situation that can make him look like he's on an equal footing with whoever, with Tammy Sawyer, for example, who will be very prominent there.
Well, I see you scowling over here.
I don't know, because I don't consider myself a dissident.
No.
And I certainly would be participating, and I think that he's making a bad move. I don't think you have to commit yourself to not running because of the outcome of a certain group. But I think any candidate who wants to run for office should ask for votes from anybody, anywhere, anytime around this city.
Well, the real question is whether Dr. Harrington decides to take full part in it.
Whether he does or not. I think any candidate who wants to run for office should ask for everybody's vote at every event at any time.
Well, they're all going to be asking, but how many are going to be receiving? That's the
It
thing.
doesn't matter. You should ask.
I think there's going to be a race for second place here.
You may get some individuals in there who say, well, I don't care what the group went. I was really impressed with so-and-so because of so-and-so. And I think you lose that opportunity when you don't participate.
It's kind of like Democrats who are opting not to appear on Fox News, town hall meetings on Fox. Some say, I want to try and reach that audience. Who knows who I might reach, even though it's hostile, but you never know who you might reach.
That's right.
But other Democrats are saying, I don't want any part of that.
And you never know whose eyes you may open on a particular issue when you give them the other view.
Well, I think ideally you're correct in what you say, but I just don't think this event's going to have the stature of the People's Convention of 1991. That was a genuine citywide affair. Excuse me, I don't think this is going to be that.
All right, we have one more education topic we want to talk about, and that is how much money from the county should go toward the Shelby County school system. The school system wanting $7 million more that some commissioners seem reluctant to give, at least for the purposes that have been stated. We'll be right back.
Why should you call about Trident University's online medical billing and coding program? The answer is simple. Medical billing and coding is a growing field that needs you. The medical billing and coding industry is growing at a rapid pace and is expected to increase by 15%, faster than the average rate for all occupations. Medical billers are relied upon as key staff members in the medical office environment. This new career can be a fresh chapter in your life, with added responsibility which may ensure self-growth. Investing in yourself offers the greatest rewards. You will be proud of your new career and be an example to your family, friends, colleagues. Completing this program can lead to exciting new opportunities for you and your family. If eligible, you may receive financial aid to help jumpstart your education. It's time to make a change. Pick up the phone and call Trident University today to achieve the personal growth and increased career opportunities you've always dreamed of.
Your mom said, comb your hair. Your dad told you, smarten up. Your dog is judging you right now. And your best friend just called you crazy. We all need someone who'll pull no punches and give it to us straight. Now, imagine getting your news like that. No bull, no spin, just give it to me straight. Straightforward news, straight to the heart of the story. ABC News, straightforward.
The music, the foot-tapping, head-bobbing, soul-saving kind. Country, blues, rock, and everything in between. Where it all started and never stopped. Heard on stages, porches, and street corners. You can't download it. You can only experience it. The soundtrack of America, made in Tennessee. Start planning at tnvacation.com.
You're watching Local 24 This Week with Richard Ransom.
All right, school funding in the crosshairs. The Shelby County school system already has a huge budget, more than the city and county governments combined. It's up to something like $1.3 billion now. And we know that there's a state law that says you can't give a school system less than you did the year before. But Shelby County School is asking for $7 million more that they want to use for operating expenses. And Mayor Harris is one of those saying, I don't know if I like that. He would like to see that money be used for raises for cafeteria workers, part-time cafeteria workers, which he says are working at poverty levels, and they should be raised to all the other county workers at $15 an hour. Van Turner says that sounds great, but honestly, education has to come first, and school budgets are tight. We may not be able to deliver everything to everybody. And the superintendent, Dr. Jonas Ray, saying we need the money, period. So how do you think this plays out, Tawan, and who's going to win on this one?
I hope the children win.
I'm always to me, you're saying, suggesting the raise can wait for the cafeteria workers.
No.
No? Okay.
Because I think that does not say what that means. Because I do think it is important for employees to make $15 an hour, and I do think it's important for people who serve children to have a quality livable wage.
Do you make a distinction, though, for a full-time worker versus a part-time worker? You think that $15 wage should
I think that's
apply to everyone?
The only distinction I make is for youth. But anybody who's rearing a family, trying to make ends meet, or they may have a second job, I think you need to pay $15 an hour. And the people who are against this don't realize that when you do that, you not only lift your bottom, you lift your top. Because you've got to keep a reasonable spread between management and the first line of workers.
Well, even Van Turner says he wants to raise to $15. He's just suggesting there's only so much money.
But I do think that they should challenge them. Now, I'll be honest with you. I think they should challenge them to go back and look at their budget and comb and try to find $2 to $3 million out of your budget. And if you can find, meet me halfway or meet me somewhere. Give them a challenge. And then I also think they should say, here's what we are interested in, and here's what you may be interested in, and here's what we can do with what you're interested in, but you have to also find a way to support what we're interested in. I think there should be some negotiation. And one of the best people I know to do that is Reverend Keith Norman and Reverend Gina Stewart. I've seen them in action before with these two bodies.
Okay, I've got about 30 seconds left. Jackson, you have the last word.
Well, this is an annual affair. The county administration, the Board of Commissioners, they cannot tell the school board what to do with their money. They can just say you can have it or you can't. They can't tell them how to spend it.
They don't have to give it to them.
Commissioner Reginald Milton says you're spending money on too many things that are not educational. If you'd stop doing that, you wouldn't be asking for so much more. And he's got a point, except those same things would have to be spent by the county otherwise. So it's water displacement.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. We'll be right back to wrap things up in just a minute.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard serve to give back to their country and communities. Their part-time commitment qualifies them for an array of benefits, such as affordable health and life insurance benefits, education benefits, including tuition assistance, student loan repayment and GI Bill programs, a retirement plan based on part-time service, and VA home mortgages. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about all the benefits available in the Army National Guard. Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Penny Hardaway.
Feels good, man, because, you know, it rolls back to when we were in school. You know, you were playing football, I was playing basketball, and now to make it come full circle and be the coach, it's an amazing feeling.
Anthony Miller.
Nothing's been given to me. I've always known, you know, with hard work, you're going to be rewarded. And I guess this is my reward.
James Wiseman.
All of these schools that's recruiting right now are great schools. They got great coaches. So all schools are even balanced right now, and I just got to weigh my options.
All went one-on-one with Local24's.com.
No, hey, you're my guy.
Another summer day has come and gone away. From Paris or Rome, but I wanna go home. Oh, I miss you, you know. Let me go home. It'll all be alright. I'll be home tonight. I'm coming back home.
My thanks to Jackson and Tawan. As I always like to tell you, you can collect your checks on the way out for being here today. We appreciate it. Love. Thanks to you as well. We'll see you next week right here on Local 24 This Week.
When it comes